To make concern, it's a cool podcast. Listen with your friends or listen with your dog, man. Subscribe today or I'll be in your closet. To make concern, that's a really cool podcast. Hey yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another episode of To Make Concern. We are back once again with another episode for y'all. Except, are we really back? Is this even us doing this episode? How do you know we're not just paid actors to do this? Have you ever asked yourself that?
The reason they know that.
Anyways, Steve's on the right and I am on the left. My name is Will, and if you've never seen this podcast before, this is where I deliver topics that Steven will respond to. May or may not know what I'm talking about, but hey, if the script right here is anything to go off of, it should be a banger episode today.
We say that every time. Also, to answer Will's question from the beginning of the episode, the way that you as the viewer can know that we're not paid actors is because both of us are broke and can't afford to pay actors.
Well, to be fair, a lot of actors have had issues with getting monetary compensation for their work, so the idea of them being broke is not necessarily out of the realm of possibility. Do you remember that whole strike thing that happened last year?
Well, I mean, yeah, but like the actual people, Will and Steven, are broke college students who can't afford actors.
Sure, those actors could also not afford other actors if they decide to hire someone to act the acting gig that they got.
We paid an actor to come act, and then that actor pays another actor to come act for them.
Like they get on board, they see what they're acting as, and they're like, I don't want to act this. Let me just get someone else to do it.
Just have someone else do it. I'm sure it'll
like
be
I'm
fine.
still trying to get the bag, but I also don't want my name attached to this, or my face, or a part of me attached to this. But regardless, welcome to the podcast. How are you today, Steven? Still waiting for a valid response other than
Yeah.
I guess that concludes his end of the story. As for me,
I am today. I am today, Will.
You are today?
I am today.
Okay.
You asked how am I today? I am.
However you want to interpret that, let's move on to other actual topics.
Wow, look at this. Look at this, man. Will doesn't want to listen to my you know what? Let's just do an episode.
You know what? I think that's a splendid idea. Steven.
I seem to have lost the ability to English. Yes.
So this episode might be a little challenging for you, but not too terribly challenging. Too terribly challenging, yeah.
We both lost the ability to English.
Alright, so Steven.
Yeah, what's up?
Happy Friday the 13th. As we're recording this episode, it is currently Friday the 13th.
You wanna know what's
how
funny?
do you feel about that?
You wanna know what's funny? I didn't even notice that was a thing. Mostly because I don't really pay attention to the date. I just know what day it is. And sometimes I don't even know what day it is, so...
So, answer this truthfully. How aware are you about the concept of Friday the 13th?
I mean, I know it's supposed to be like a bad luck thing. I just genuinely did not process the fact that today was, in fact, a Friday the 13th.
Well, if you take a look on your calendar or whatever, like, on my MacBook, the date is on the top right, so I can look at that right there. And also, in my room, I actually have a calendar. So if you ever see me looking up to like discuss the dates, I'm actually looking at a calendar over there.
And definitely not looking up to think.
Look at what now?
Definitely not looking up just because you're thinking. Like, some people do that. Some people just look up because they're like, I do that. I don't. I mean, I don't.
Steven, everybody.
Shush.
Can we just get a clap real quick. Let me bring in the golf clap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The sound effects have returned for this episode. Some of y'all might remember back in our Riverside days, there was an episode where I just abused the soundboard.
Riverside FM.
Yeah, I just kept pressing buttons. I was just like, bringing all the sounds.
He ended up lagging the episode by doing that.
I think I did, yeah.
You did.
But yeah. Friday the 13th, it's a day that it's based on a horror movie of the same name, Friday the 13th. That's where it originally comes from. And it's just become such a niche, like, I guess you could, wouldn't really call it a holiday, but like a date of interest. Kind of like how other dates like May 4th has become a date of interest, like May the 4th be with you. Have you heard about that before?
Oh, yeah, that's Star Wars Day.
Yeah, it's like those days where it's like nothing really important's happening, but it's just a date of interest.
It's like, because like the way that you say the date is just it's just funny. Or it just relates to something. I don't know, man.
I will say, even though I know what Friday the 13th is, and I know all about like the horror character of Jason, I actually have no idea why it's even called Friday the 13th. Like, I'm sure they have like a reason in like the movies, but like I guess I've just never thought to like question that.
Well,
like, why is it
okay,
called
to be
Friday
fair, because 13 is generally considered to be an unlucky number by like superstitious people. I mean, there's not really anything statistically bad about 13.
Yeah,
but it's just considered, I mean, other than the fact that it's a prime number, I guess, but like I don't know.
Superstition is weird. It kind of works weird like that. Like, yeah. If you, like, in the world of sports, it's a big thing where it's like, if you say something good's going to happen to your team, or you just say anything along the lines of, this game is going to go great for us, and I sure do hope nothing bad happens, then the general thing to say is, oh, knock on wood, make sure.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Yeah, the knock on wood thing. I actually learned what that even was last summer when I was working Wendy's. I remember saying something. There's probably something along the lines of, oh, we're probably not going to be that busy tonight. And someone said, hey, knock on wood, knock on wood. And at that moment, I actually had no idea what the saying was. So I was just like, what are you saying? Like, I just feel like I've never heard that before. I've just like, but since then, I learned what it meant.
It's basically just a phrase that means like,
yeah.
Hey, you said that you. It's like, it's basically just a phrase for like. I don't know, man. Words are hard.
Yeah, we don't, like, that's the thing about it. I still don't know where it originally originates from, but I know generally what people mean when they say that. It's like, don't jinx it. It's basically saying don't jinx it.
It's basically saying don't jinx it, pretty much. Yeah.
I would like to know what the original story behind that is. Like, it's probably some like weird contrived. And we're back. We had technical difficulties. No thing of interest happened. All hailed the miteful green frame. Anyways,
it actually was not Auburn this time.
I think it's about time we stop talking about the 13th superstition, because I might start believing it if bad stuff starts happening again.
That's funny. I didn't even consider that. We were just talking about the 13th superstition, and suddenly we had issues with the Discord thing.
Yeah.
All
right, so let's move on to the next topic. All right, so Steven.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty like a commonly accepted thing for like smart people, for like people who like know how the world works, that teaching is not an easy job.
I mean, I could tell you that, and I'm not smart.
But like, you're sound of mind, right?
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, you're a human being who has conscience, so
well,
you know.
I don't know about I bold of you to assume.
Okay, self-deprecation aside, we both can agree, teaching, like being a teacher or a professor, is not an easy job. There's
basically teaching other people is a difficult task in general.
Yeah, and we both agree that there's a million things that are difficult about being a teacher. So I say all that to say this next topic is going to sound like I'm making fun of them a little bit, but I just wanted to make it clear that I understand where they're coming from with this sort of attitude that I'm going to describe. And it's when they get very passive aggressive. And that's when they start saying things like, let's say a class is just like, a lot of the class is about participation and like discussion based. And like, let's just say the class is just silent, like no one really wants to speak. And then the professor is just like, oh yeah, I know y'all just so bored and y'all just waiting to get out of here, right? It's when they start saying stuff like that. I wanted to get your opinion on that because it is one of those things where it's like it does come off a little like yeah, I know we're not like, and I want to like explain myself a little bit as well. Like I'm generally fine with like participating in class, but after a while, when it becomes clear that like it's only a few people who are actually like speaking up first, and I'm one of them, that's when I start to like pull back a little bit, and I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna like if I don't have anything interesting to say, I'm probably just gonna let someone else participate, and then no one else participates to like speak up on anything.
They were relying on you to carry them.
Yeah. And that results in the professor, and this also applies to teachers as well. This is more of a teacher thing more than anything.
I mean, technically, a professor is a type of teacher, but
yeah, but generally speaking, like middle school, high school, elementary school, college, you see it everywhere. Of like when teachers are like, slow day in here, huh? Y'all just don't want to talk. Y'all just don't want to participate. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
I don't know. I know I'm like vaguely aware that that's a thing that teachers will do sometimes, but I don't think I've ever actually had a teacher that does that.
Really?
There are professors that I have had, like even just in college, I've like a lot of college classes do like encourage participation in class, like discussion and stuff like that, but like I find that there's usually someone like in those types of classes there's usually someone that wants to say something.
Yeah. Let me also add a little bit more context. This class I'm talking about, it's I don't actually want to say what it is because I don't want to call out the professor like by name, but it is a very small class that basically has like about 15-ish people in the class, so it's a very small class. So whenever the professor encourages a lot of discussion, he's relying on a classroom of 15 to carry an entire discussion. And when a majority of that classroom are people who don't usually participate, that just kind of leaves me and a couple others as like the ones to go to like actually say something during class. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that dynamic that professors and like some teachers create of just like classroom discussion.
Yeah, I've noticed it being more a thing in grade school, where you have a classroom of like 20 or so people, and there'll be like one or two people in the class that's like, it's not really a discussion thing, but it'll be like the teacher will be asking a bunch of questions to the class, and there's like one or two people that are answering all the questions, and then eventually they get to the point where the teacher will ask a question and they'll say like, somebody else answered that isn't insert student that has been answering all the questions.
Like let's get some other voices in the classroom.
Yeah, let's have someone else answer this one.
Yeah. And I will also say with this particular classroom, the discussion is not really much about like, okay, we are learning stuff, but it's not necessarily about like, what is the answer to this question? It's more like, what do you think the answer of this question is?
What do you think the answer is?
Yeah, like he'll bring us like an acronym. And it's like, what do y'all think this means? This advanced term for this thing you're learning about.
So it's like it's not
who knows it?
It's not like that. It's something that you've been told about before? It's like a new thing, and he's just asking like, does like anyone already know?
Yeah, it's that. A good bit of it is that, and it's just like,
Basically,
and other times,
on the
he'll
podcast,
present.
when Will introduces a topic and he has the obligatory, so Steven, have you ever heard of?
Yeah, it's kind of that. It's kind of that. Like, and other times it's just comes down to like he'll present a scenario, and it's just like, what do you think the best course of action is from here? And that's where it's discussion.
And then he just like waits for somebody to say something.
Basically.
Just sit there in awkward silence, staring around the room, and a few seconds later the professor goes, I can see you guys are just really out of it today. Don't want to talk, huh?
Yeah. and you made a funny point earlier about like when it comes to like those who like don't want to like be the ones to start. I said something funny happened the other day. I think it was yesterday. I had a presentation in Spanish class. I was going to present a presentation.
You're going to present a presentation? Well, I mean, I would hope so. What else did you do with a presentation?
But my thing with presentations is, in the past, I've usually been the one, like, the professor would be like, does anyone want to volunteer to start us off? And I've always been the one to, like, start it off, like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like, yeah, sure, I guess I'll do it. But this time around, like, I was just like, you know what? I think I kind of want someone else to say it. I really want to be able to, like, not just be that guy to just start off the presentations. Let me see how someone else do it. And like, so when that question came around of does anyone want to start, the classroom is just like dead silent the entire time. I'm just sitting there like, okay, surely someone is either gonna obligatorily like stand up and be like, all right, fine, I'll do it. Either that or the professor will just call on someone randomly. And so eventually what happened was, so we had to send our presentations via email to this professor in order to like pull it up on screen or whatever. And I decided, okay, while I wait, how about I go ahead and get my presentation sent to him so that when it's my turn, I'll go ahead and present. Because I was under the impression that someone else was also going to go up. So I sent it to the professor, and then I think he did eventually call on someone to present, but their link to their presentation wasn't working. So then the professor's like, okay, while we wait on them to get their link sorted, let's go to this guy right here. He just sent his presentation. Let's have him do it first. And it was me. So despite my best effort to not go first, I still ended up going first. And so after I presented, I had to sit the entire rest of the class just watching other people do presentations, and I'm just like,
I think that actually brings up another question, like a kind of side topic that I want to bring up, that kind of is related to this one. But I want to ask you about your opinion on something, Will.
Okay.
So when you are in a class where you have to do like something in front of the whole class, like you have to like give a presentation or like say something or something like that, and it's like multiple people in the class have to do something that particular day, and you have like an order of what order they do it, where do you think is the best place to be in that order?
I'm sorry, I'm going to need you to elaborate. What exactly are you talking about?
So let's say you have a class and like 6 people in the class need to give a presentation that day.
Oh, so like a group presentation.
No, like each person is giving like their own presentation, but they're doing it like one after another. So like one person does it
Okay.
and then goes and sits down, and the next person, I'll give some context.
Okay.
I'll give some context as to why I asked, because as I have mentioned in a previous episode, I am in a public speaking class this semester.
Right.
And so like one of the things that you have to do in public speaking is speak publicly, obviously,
Right.
which pretty much just means in front of the class. And so basically what they do is they have like a certain number of people who are going to speak on a certain day, and you basically just pick like which order. Like the way our professor
Okay.
does it is she puts like a list of numbers on, or like a list of numbers on the board for like the number of people who are going to speak that day, and then the people who are speaking just come and then like write their name next to one of the numbers to like have their spot in line, and then they just do it in that order. And so I was asking your opinion on like where do you think is the best spot to be. It's supposed to be related to the whole like being the first one to give your presentation kind of thing. Like, do you think it's better to be first? Do you think it's better to be the last one? Do you think it's better to be somewhere in between? Where do you think is the best spot?
For me, if I had to choose, I would probably go with like either the second or third one to present. I don't want to be the automatic first, but I also don't want to be the last one. Like watching everybody else do it, and my stress level, anxiety, just rising and rising and rising and rising and rising as I'm waiting on mine. I think being in the middle, like maybe like the third, fourth, maybe second, I think that's the best. Of like you have someone set the tone already, and then you go in, and then you give your side of the presentation, and then after that, it's a little bit of time waiting to get through the other ones, and then after that, that's the entire class day done, and you just presented your presentation. I think that's where I kind of would stand in that.
So like
order.
near the top, but not like the very first.
Yeah, kind of that like second, third, fourth kind of area. So it's like not the end, but like not the absolute first. Like have at least someone go and set the tone for the entire thing, and then you come in with your presentation.
And it's a banger.
You can say that. Like whether the first impression is bad and then you come in and revive it, or the first presentation is good and you just build off that energy of just like, just continuing the good presentations.
Yeah.
So that's how I would respond to that.
Okay. That concludes this segment.
Yes.
Now back to the main segment.
I mean, there's not really a whole lot more to talk about with this segment about professors just having that attitude of, oh, I know y'all just so bored. Because like I said, I know why they do it, but at the same time, when I'm a student and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just
why? What is actually the ideology behind? Like, do they think that just because they said that, the students are just gonna feel like, oh no, he thinks we're bored. We have to show him that we're not.
Yeah, and it's like I get that it makes his job easier to like have us not be like that, but that's just not reality. That's just kind of how.
Yeah, it's like I know like most students that I can think of, including me, is like the professor saying something like that, like, oh, you guys are just so bored, or like, you guys are so tired. It's a Friday. You're just ready to get out of here. My response to that would be like, you right?
It was like, yeah.
Yeah. I am tired. It is Friday. I am ready to get out of here.
It's not even necessarily about it being like a Friday, just being like a regular day, and I'm just like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like academics.
I'm ready for this class to be over, man.
Like, I understand it's important and like I need it, but I don't like it that much.
That's just what I think like the actual response to that would be for most people.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those things where it's just like, and this is just talking about those moments, which is like usually the majority of like when you don't have something to say to really add to the conversation. Whenever there is something that I feel like I can naturally add, I will speak up and I will talk about it. But like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, even if you do decide to be that person to like actually stand up for the professor and actually discuss during his classroom, if you end up saying something that's incorrect, it's gonna be like, no, that's not correct. What are you thinking? Just giving out incorrect answers. Like in a more polite tone, in a more polite way, that's what they're saying, but that's kind of the tone of what they're saying. It's like, what, are you stupid? Why did you say that? Why did you say that out loud?
Some things just need to be kept to ourselves.
That's kind of the attitude, making you feel bad for even speaking up to begin with. So it's just like, I've had that a few times where I just say something that's kind of stupid, but in my mind it makes sense, but in practice, according to the professor, it's not.
It gives the same energy. It gives the same energy as being in a group and like you say something that's supposed to be funny, like a joke that's supposed to be funny, and nobody laughs. And so you say it,
yeah.
and then you just pause and like wait for people to laugh, and nobody does, and so it's just really awkward.
Yeah, I tend to experience that several times in my life, maybe more than several, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's just like, you know, I do like to try to bring jokes, and I try to like bring humor, and like a good bit of the time it lands, and then other times it doesn't. So it's just kind of one of those like,
yeah, sometimes it just crashes and burns.
It just crashes and burns. Kind of reminds me of a particular set of twins that experienced crashing and burning. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. No idea what he could be talking about. But, we're just gonna ignore that.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, there's no easy way to bring up this next topic, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. Nature is kind of fat phobic when you really think about it.
That's actually a pretty solid point. Please elaborate.
I just want to see what your reaction to that was, because this next topic is about there's a trail somewhere like in the canyon that's like very narrow.
In the canyon, yes, that canyon, everyone. The one that you were thinking of, the one that your mind immediately went to canyon. When Will said the canyon. This that canyon.
I don't know if that's particularly where this is, or if it's like another canyon. But there's a certain trail in like some sort of mountain that's like it's very narrow. Like you gotta like climb through it a little bit. It's called Spooky Gulch, and it has this warning sign where it essentially poses a test. You know how when you go to like a playground, they have like a height thing, or like even better at roller coaster, they have like a height thing. They have a height, you must be this tall to like ride this thing, and so basically you do that. This thing had something where it had 2 posts that are kind of like this. And it's like, if you have this difficulty passing through these posts, you might not want to go on this trail, as you might get stuck. And you can imagine.
I'm sorry.
I feel like
I promise I'm not trying to body shame, but that is hilarious. I'm just imagining like just 2 posts and just seeing some like complete like some arbitrary obese person, you know, just like
it's fine. You can say me.
Not trying to shame anyone in particular, but just like an arbitrary person who happens to be built a little bit wider than normal, just trying to fit through the middle of them.
Yeah, and as you can imagine, there were a few people who saw this and immediately went to fat phobia. Like, this is fat phobic. How dare
they're discriminating on the basis of my body size.
And there were some who were even like why don't you just make the trail wider so that other people can climb it?
That is a classic. That is a classic customer response. I say customer response because for anyone who has ever worked in retail or fast food, you know how it is when customers say, "Why can't you just do?" and then say something that you very obviously can't do.
Yeah, like calling out the mountain, just being like, "Why can't your trail just be wider?" Have you ever thought of that, Mr. Mountain? Or Miss Mountain? Or whatever indeterminate gender you are, Mountain? Like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, what is the mountain supposed to do?
Well, welcome to 2024, everybody. The year where we have to be scared of misgendering a mountain.
This is a very 2024 topic. I'm going to just call it as it is. This is a very 2024 topic of, like, nature being called fat-phobic. That's probably going to be the title of this episode.
Nature is fat-phobic.
Nature should be really more considerate of them big boys.
Them big boys, yeah.
Nature is not built big boy friendly.
I mean, if you think about it, nature's not wheelchair accessible either.
Yeah, honestly, you know what? Mountain climbing is just like, it's like what do you call it? Ableist?
Ableist,
like,
yeah.
discriminate against.
Because you have to think, like, for people in wheelchairs or like people who just like can't like get around normally, like we have to build infrastructure in order to allow them to access places. Like, that's something that we did. Nature doesn't do that. Nature is very inaccessible for people who are like not able to move normally. So you could say that nature is also ableist.
Yeah. And what's funny too is, like, we're describing all these discriminatory terms, but a lot of them do get like mixed up with other terms. Like, someone probably saw that whole Spooky Gulch thing and threw out the term racist, even though racism had nothing to do with that conversation. But it's such a blanket term at this point of just like calling something out that's bad. That's probably gonna be the title of this episode. Nature is racist.
Nature is racist if you really think about it.
Probably. I don't know. I'll think of something. I definitely want to call this episode, like, name it based off this topic, because this is such, like, I really am not trying to become one of those podcasts. We're not trying to become one of those podcasts that are just like gonna laugh constantly at Gen Z and be like, you know, back in my day, back in the olden days, this wasn't a real problem.
I mean, to be fair, both of us are Gen Z, so.
Yeah, I really don't want to like do that, because I do find that, like, the type of people who do that, they themselves are very, like, corny and just like, it's the same thing of just like the same point being brought up over and over. But
I will say that one of
it's not that it's that this is this stupid. It is something that I just like laughing at every once in a while. Like, so yeah, what were you gonna say, Steven?
I was gonna say one person that I know who uses the back in my day argument a lot is actually my dad.
Yeah, it's just one of the things. And
every time I tell him, like, it'll always be like, I'll be telling him about like the way that something is done, or like the way I do something, or like something that you can do, or just like some cool something that's like relatively
card readers. Like, you can just tap your card.
That's like something that's just relatively modern, and just like telling him about it, and it's just like, yeah, you can just do it like this, and he's like, well, you know, see, back in my day it was like this, and then he just
yeah, and I understand there are people like that too, where it's just like they're just stuck in the past. I imagine I probably might be like that when I'm older. I'm not gonna lie.
I hope I'm not like that when I'm older. I for one am very well, it's mostly on the side of technology. I like seeing new technology and stuff like that. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
So I hope that I'm not going to become a back in my day person.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. Like, we'll just have to wait and see, you know?
Yo, back in my day, we played games with a controller.
Basically.
Back in my day, we actually drove our cars. or something like that. I don't know.
Or something like that, honestly. All right, so last topic I want to bring up. YouTube ads. Why?
You know them, you love them.
Why? We've talked about this before about how they started to add more and more of them.
Yeah.
And it's one thing to like have ad blocker on like a computer or something. When you like have like a Roku TV that you try to watch YouTube off of, because like every once in a while I like to like get out of this room and like chill in the common area, or not the common area, the living room of my dorm basically, and just like chill and watch TV and just watch YouTube on there. So yeah, I understand ads are important and everything, but YouTube, 5 ads, 5 unskippable ads.
Want a break from the ads? Buy YouTube Premium for only.
That's the thing. I would get YouTube Premium.
No, I wouldn't.
So fucking expensive.
I refuse. I refuse to pay for YouTube Premium. I refuse.
That is the thing about it. It's just like it's
like,
so expensive.
All you're doing is all you're doing. You pay YouTube Premium does 2 things primarily. It gives you no ads and it allows you to download videos. That's the main things that YouTube Premium does. So you're basically paying for the privilege of not having to watch ads, which if you think about it, actually makes a little bit of sense, because the whole point of ads being there is to generate revenue, because advertisers basically pay YouTube to show you ads for like, you know, getting themselves out there. And so YouTube is basically saying, yeah, so if you give us this amount of money, then we'll show this ad to this amount of people. And that's one of the main ways that YouTube makes money, and also creators on YouTube make money that way as well. What you're doing by buying YouTube Premium is you're basically paying YouTube the money that they would be making from showing you ads. That's kind of how it's supposed to work. I think the proportions of how much money is involved is a little bit off. They're probably charging you significantly more than they would actually make off of your ads, but
yeah. So I just want to quickly rant about that. Like how? Let's think for a moment. How much are they eventually going to get to? Assuming that there's no incentive to stop with increasing, how much ads do you think? Like eventually.
Okay, so I feel like this is the great part about living in a capitalist economy, right? Is because YouTube is a giant. Right? YouTube is owned by Google, obviously. Google is a giant company, and YouTube is kind of the king of online video streaming.
So giant, they probably can't pass through that that trail we talked about earlier.
Yeah, but I mean, YouTube is kind of just the video streaming platform. There really are no alternatives other than, like, I mean, some people might argue TikTok, but TikTok does not count.
TikTok is more of a... Yeah, it's more of like in the same vein of like Vine or something. I don't think anyone.
Yeah, it's more.
Vine
TikTok is more of a short form platform. YouTube is more for like full length videos that are like, you know, several minutes or more, hours sometimes.
Yeah, like video essays. You know.
Yeah, but like in terms of a platform like YouTube, where people post like full length videos for a multitude of purposes, not just entertainment. There's a lot of information to be found out there as well. There really is no other name besides YouTube, and anyone else who tried just gets dwarfed by the giant that is YouTube.
Best believe there has been attempts. Several attempts.
Yeah.
To try and replace
all
YouTube.
that to say, I say that because that's the way it is now, but here's the thing. People already don't like YouTube that much because of the ads and because of the algorithm and because of probably numerous other things. The reason people continue to use YouTube when they dislike it so much is because there are no other options. YouTube is all there is.
No other option.
And so what's going to happen
YouTube
is
essentially have a monopoly on the whole thing.
But that's where capitalism comes in, is because I think what's going to happen is that if the situation gets bad enough to where YouTube just becomes unbearable enough, eventually a large enough number of people are going to start looking for other platforms, and they're going to find these smaller platforms that they do exist. There are alternatives to YouTube. They're just so tiny in comparison to YouTube that they just practically are not on the map.
Yeah.
But
there was that one called Rumble that really, like, they really tried to like get off the ground, and it just like didn't happen.
Yeah, but if the environment on YouTube becomes hostile enough and a large enough number of people start looking for alternatives, the demand for video platforms outside of YouTube could increase to the point where a platform or multiple platforms, potentially depending on how it goes, could actually grow to the point that they could compete with YouTube. And so that's something I think that YouTube has to watch out for. And I don't think that Google really cares, because at this point YouTube's kind of in a position where they don't think that they can be competed with. But YouTube is a service, and a service only exists as long as there is a demand for it. So if the demand for YouTube drops enough and the demand for other platforms goes up enough, then capitalism will happen and other platforms will be able to start
Capitalism
competing.
will happen. It hasn't happened yet, but trust me, it will happen.
It's literally exactly how capitalism works. And I mean, I know we're talking about like viewers here instead of money, but same thing basically.
Like customers. We're talking about the incentives for customers to continue going to YouTube.
It's economics minus the money, essentially.
Yeah. I think we got a little too technical with that discussion, and we probably lost a few people.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Whoops.
I'm begging. So, how far in the episode are we?
We've been going for 43 minutes.
43 minutes. Okay, I think we got time for one more topic, and it's kind of also
one more time
is related to YouTube. And this is what we were talking about earlier, about how there's several things about YouTube where it's just like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And one thing that I took notice of today in particular is, so you're at this point you're aware of the notification thing of like, if you really like a channel, you might set notifications to it to receive notifications to when they upload it.
I wanna give a little bit of a hot take, or not really a hot take, but a personal confession of mine. I watch a lot of YouTube, but I want you the viewers to know something about me. I don't subscribe to YouTube channels.
Really?
Not at all. Like, it's just not something that I really bother doing. Like, even for channels that I regularly watch videos from, I just don't subscribe to them. I don't know why. I just never really bothered to do it.
Interesting. Are you subscribed to our channel? This channel?
I am subscribed to our channel.
So we're one of the few channels you subscribe to.
I think. Wait, you might hold on. I'm gonna check my YouTube app. I want to see how many channels am I actually subscribed to. I think it might just be this one, and like, hold on, subscriptions. I'm subscribed to this channel, our old Who channel, and then like 2 other channels. That's it. That's my entire subscription list.
Those channels are kind of the exception to the rule.
Yeah, I probably subscribed to them like in the past at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know. And just kind of forgot about it.
As for me, I am the opposite. I subscribe to a ton of channels. Not as much as I used to, but it is one of those things that, like, I'll subscribe to a channel I generally like, and for the channels that I really like and like want to see new content from, I will like put on the turn on the bell. And here's the weird thing though. There's 3 options of this. One option is to not have notifications. The other option is to have notifications for all their videos. But then you get that weird middle option of personalized notifications. And
Which
to this day, I still do not know how exactly it works. Like, basically the way it works.
I've never heard of it because I don't use the notification option. But if I had to guess, my assumption would be that it basically combines with the algorithm to basically it'll look at a video that the channel uploads and then use the algorithm to determine if it thinks that video is relevant to you, and then if it is, then it will give you a notification for it. That would be my guess. I cannot confirm. I cannot confirm if that's actually how it works, but that would be my guess as to how it works.
In my personal experience, it just kind of sends me random videos. Like, not necessarily stuff that I'm like watching or anything, just stuff that is coming from that channel that I subscribe to. And it's just sending me random videos and like on whatever it really wants, honestly. And it's just
whatever the algorithm thinks that you'll like.
Yeah, and it's just like the reason why I was going through it was because I was going through channels that like I don't really watch anymore. And I was like turning off their bell to like not get notifications on them anymore. And I just noticed a bunch of channels that just have that person. Like when I subscribe to a channel, it'll automatically go to that personalized option. It won't just go to like the no notifications options. It'll go to the personalized thing, kind of middle ground. And I've just always been confused about like, what is it? Like, it's one of those YouTube features that I just see nobody talk about. Everyone talks about like, oh yeah, ring that bell, but make sure it's not the personalized thing. Make sure it's the all thing. But it's like no one ever talks about it, or at least not that I've seen. So that is just something I've like. If YouTube could actually, I'm sure there's some explanation for what it is, but it's like I just feel like it could be better, like just better utilized. Or like at the very least, like have more of a point. Because otherwise, you're just better off having the two options of just either no notifications or all the notifications. I don't see what good it is to get this personalized thing when you're not in control of what you actually like from a particular channel. Like, sure, you can teach the algorithm what you like, but it's just like the algorithm is just not like it's complex and it's sometimes accurate. It's like it is getting better as time progresses, but it's like I just fail to see the point, like especially with how it like just works.
Yeah.
And for you, Steven, I just want to ask, like, whenever you watch YouTube, do you just go to the homepage usually?
Yeah, basically what I'll do, there's like three different things I do on YouTube. There's like three different states that I'll be in when I go to watch YouTube. I'll go to YouTube for three reasons.
Mental states?
Yeah, mental states.
Reason
number
state.
one.
I'm in the mentally sane state. Oh, I'm in the psycho state.
I'm never in that state.
Are we sure about that?
Anyway, so reason number one that I would go to YouTube is because I just want to watch something. And usually with
anything.
Yeah, I just need like something to watch. And so usually like that's the time when I'll just go to the homepage and I'll just scroll like through the homepage until I find something and I'll say, oh, that looks interesting, and I'll click on it and then I'll just watch it. And then I'll just kind of like go down a chain of like recommended videos. And if I can't see anything that I like in the recommended videos, I'll just go back to the homepage. Reason number two is because you
essentially operate like a iPad kid. Just turn on autoplay and just let it roll for a good while.
I actually don't have autoplay on. I will manually select what video I'm gonna watch next.
Yeah. I also like turn off autoplay because I find it to be annoying.
Yeah, I don't like autoplay because usually like the next video that it plays is one that I don't care about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I usually have to scroll down a little bit to find one I actually want to watch. Reason number two to go on YouTube is because there's a specific thing that I want to watch, and then I'll just literally just go search for it, and just watch it. Like that's for if I want to watch something in particular, or I just want to like watch, like I just want to find a video on a specific topic or something like that, then I'll just go search. Reason number three is watching YouTube Shorts, where I'll just go to YouTube Shorts and I'll just start scrolling.
where the process is done for you, basically.
Pretty much, yeah.
I find find stuff that you actually care about.
I scroll up, I see something that I like, I watch it. I scroll up, there's an ad. I scroll up, there's a video I don't care about. I scroll up, there's another video that I want to watch. I watch it. I scroll up, there's one I don't care about. I scroll up, there's an ad. I scroll up.
Yeah, I think we get the idea. So, yeah. So that's personalized YouTube notifications. They're a thing that happens. Alright, I think that about does it for this episode. I think it's a pretty good episode.
Yeah, pretty banger, if I do say so myself.
We talked about nature, fat phobia. We talked about professors. We talked about Friday the 13th. And also, I think that's all you really need at the end of the day for a good podcast episode.
Yeah.
And I hope y'all had a good podcast episode listening experience.
Please
whether
remember
you listened or watched or whatever.
to subscribe to the channel
content.
and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on an episode.
Whether it's the all notifications one or the personalized thing that gives you some of our episodes, but not all of them.
Yes. And which ones you're going to get is entirely up to YouTube. You don't really know.
So yeah, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Go down in the description, check out my new WILL channel where you can watch me talk about NFL. I actually posted my first episode talking about the first week of the Falcons game because I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a Falcons fan. I'm trying to get into the world of sports commentary and like talking about sports and stuff. So go check that out. Also, our Who channel is there in case you want to watch or old videos.
Yeah, old
and
videos.
Also our Discord server. Come to our Discord server.
Go join the Discord server plug. All of the new episodes are posted there. Will pings at everyone every time there's a new episode, so
yeah. Everyone loves it.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's about it. And as always, please like and subscribe for another episode of
To Whom It May Concern.
Podcast Out!